How's it going, class? As a reflection of our most recent speech, I overall liked the topic of the speech itself. It was kind of hard for me to narrow down a specific culture that I wanted to talk about, as I brainstormed and found a good amount that I would be interested in. But when narrowing it down, that was a little bit more difficult for me to do, but once I found it, it was pretty easy. I enjoyed the entire writing process as it was a time for me to gain more information and knowledge about a culture that I'm already interested in but didn't know too much about. So that gave me a good chance to do my own research, which is something that I would have done on my own time, but it allowed me to do it in the form of an assignment. One thing I did think I did well on in this speech was having a pretty wide category. And some would say that kind of limits what you can talk about because we are supposed to go pretty in detail for the different sub points that we made. But I think it allowed me to really give a glimpse of the culture as a whole, because while the culture is really big, there's a ton of small subcultures within it. So I wanted to focus on the overall bigger picture of the culture of car culture. One of the hardest things that I had when delivering the speech was not stuttering or saying which I've done a couple times in this speech already. But for me, that's the hardest because when it comes to public speaking or even recording myself speaking, I like to freeze up a lot and my brain kind of pauses. So when I do that, I say or I simply stutter, which is kind of annoying and definitely makes any of our speeches more difficult in terms of delivering. What I intend to do for the future is just to practice it a whole bunch more. I didn't get as much time to practice this speech as we did our first speech, but in the future for the next speech I'm going to practice it a lot more before hitting the record button with the audience. So hopefully that will allow me to be more confident and comfortable in what I'm going to say, which will allow it to flow through a lot better. And hopefully that will make it so I don't stutter as much or don't pause and say a bunch. But overall, I really liked this speech and topic and assignment. It was really fun to do as it allowed me to learn more about car culture, which was something that I was interested in about before, but didn't necessarily know too much about. So yeah.